Okay. Hi there. Welcome to Peppers and Flowers, where sales and marketing don't make sense. Please join us for the conversation.
That was really good. It sounded great. For the first time ever, James and Daniel are together talking about, this is our first podcast today. So I guess we're just going to let everyone know what to expect, what it's all about. Maybe we could even let them know what our name is, because people are probably thinking, what the heck? Sales and marketing? Why'd you name it Peppers and Flowers?
Absolutely. To me, a pepper represents something spicy, and something that makes your food taste better. Flowers are like, hey, man, this is a good looking bouquet of flowers for my wife, my girlfriend, my mom, something that makes someone feel better, you know? What does it mean to you, Daniel? What does peppers and flowers mean to you as far as the podcast goes?
Well, I think it was funny when we started this. Um, we were trying to it was funny because you and I we were trying to come up with this thing. We were trying to figure out how we can make it different and not talk about, or maybe even a lot of podcasts are interviewing people, or which is interesting, or kind of just talking about the same old thing about, I'm a successful entrepreneur. It's kind of the same old format. They all kind of sound the same. And I think when we came up with Peppers and Flowers, it was more of a psychological point of it that had to do with sales and marketing. Because I like what you said with the peppers and flowers. I think that's a perfect reason why. But I think psychologically it was more of, Peppers decided to, over time, they had a choice. They were trying to prevent certain animals from eating it. And so one choice was, well, we can make our pepper maintain an internal temperature of 5,000 degrees. And if any animal tries to eat it, they're going to burn their face off. But to do that, it's really difficult. Who knows how a plant could even accomplish that. So what they did instead was the pepper decided to, James, what's the chemical called again? Aspartame?
It's erythromycin.
Yeah. It decided to create that and create the illusion of a 5,000 degree heat, but it's really not. It doesn't actually produce heat at all. And so before I kind of give the definition out or the meaning, same thing goes with flowers. There's a guy named Rory Sutherland, which I'm obsessed with, because everything he says makes total sense to me. And he said that flowers are like weeds with a marketing budget. Yeah, and I thought that was amazing because it's kind of true. It's the same thing with the peppers did. It's like a psychological level. It's kind of it's basically making people perceive something that isn't necessarily real. It's all perception. And so the flower has to have the best luscious petals, and I'll try to get the bee. It then has to try to get the bee back every time. And a flower that doesn't have petals the bee is probably not going to visit. And I think that has a lot to do with marketing. It has a lot to do with sales. The flower is trying to sell itself to convince the bee to come over. And I think the best thing is the name actually, this is all plant, and this is nature. Nature has it written in its code to do this type of psychological convincing. And and I think it has to do the same thing with sales and marketing.
Absolutely. Some people would say well, isn't sales or marketing just an illusion? Is it really a reality that is part of corporate America or business in general? And there's some truth to that, in the sense that we just described in nature. It's there's this kind of interaction going on between peppers and flowers and animals and insects and things like that. And it's well, what's really going on there? Is this a true reality, or is it just a facade? And honestly, being in corporate America and sales for many years, I could kind of see how that's true, because you think, well, hey, if I just talk a certain way, or if I just show the product in a certain way, and give it a certain, angle in the light or something like that, maybe the customer will just buy it from the illusion of it. And but if you look at a deeper level, I mean, the nature you just described so eloquently, it's like it actually is a little bit deeper than just the surface kind of, selling based on image. It's actually based on reality. So, but it's just fun how
Yeah.
that we get to, you know what I'm saying? It's like we get to entertain our profession. It is reality. However, it's in a very fun and inventive and creative way.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think everything's deeper, and I think most things have a simpler solution than uh normal I feel like normal solutions, typical ones you could expect are, always spend more money or do bigger things or project. And I feel like most of the time you could probably find a solution that will save you 99% of your budget. It really has more to do with the behavior of your customers, and you'll still get the same, if not better, results. So I always think there's more simple solutions for practically anything that you're doing. But James, why don't we just let people know who we are a little bit? Why don't you start, James? Maybe just tell us what you've done before, what you're doing
Okay.
now, what's kind of like your expertise and all that.
Absolutely. Well, I tell people my first sales job was in the fourth grade when I sold cinnamon toothpicks at school. So I mean, I was kind of this,
No way.
little kid. Yeah, everyone does it, right? They sell Girl Scout cookies, or they sell candies, or they sell whatever that. When you're a kid, I used to get my hands on stickers a lot too. And but when I was in fourth grade, I was thinking to myself, you know what? My friends, I want to give them something they can really enjoy and have fun with. And so it came with me putting my friends first. And then I thought, well, what can I do creatively to give them something? Should I just buy candy at the thrift store or whatever? And I thought, well, no, I'm gonna do cinnamon toothpicks, because back then they were real popular, and it was kind of something that was just like, cutting edge and all that as far as candies go,
Yeah.
and snacks and things like that. So I thought, I'll go to a pharmacy. So I went down to the pharmacy, a few blocks away from my house in Long Beach, and I go down there, buy cinnamon oil. And I would actually purchase this bottle of oil that they had, and then I'd bring it home, and I'd have toothpicks at home. And what I would do is I would dilute the oil with water, because the cinnamon oil is real strong. And then what I would do is I would soak a bunch of cinnamon or toothpicks overnight. So the oil, the water, and the toothpicks are mixing overnight, and then let them sit overnight. And the next day I dry them out, or just kind of lay them out, put them in little baggies, take them to school. And this is when I was in the fourth grade, I was selling those toothpicks at 10 cents a piece.
Oh my God.
And so I was like literally, going during the lunch breaks. People were giving me some lunch monies and all that,
You
and
kind of
I was
sound like a
making.
drug dealer.
Yeah, I know, but it wasn't. It was like $20 a day selling cinnamon toothpicks, and I was like, I'm pretty good at this. I like talking about the stuff. I like talking to make my friends happy, and yeah, and so it just I had a blast, made lots of money off of it, and I thought, I guess I'm pretty good at sales. I didn't realize though that that's what I wanted to get into till much later in life. When I was in college, I went to Cal for 4 years, got a bio degree. So I was actually pre-med, thinking about going into cardiology or something like that. And then as I was graduating college, I thought, well, I really don't want to become a doctor. It's just more for my parents, to satisfy them.
Oh my
And
God.
so, you know what I mean? Like, hey, I'll
Yeah.
do this for someone else. And then, so I decided what to do is just go into corporate America as a entry level customer service rep at a big company. And I just grew my career from then on into account executive roles, overseeing like, you know, uh, parts of the United States of America, flying around in sales. I was actually at a biotech company, doing government and contract sales like that. And then I just moved from there for the next 20 years or so of my career in different capacities in sales.
Yeah.
And I learned a lot, from every industry, from telecom to automotive to mortgage, just all over the board.
No,
And,
but you
and
you
just,
were like very corporate though. Like you were really in it.
yeah, I was one of those guys. It's kind of like, you're on a sales team. You have a sales manager. You oversee territories. You're prospecting on the phones. You're going to meetings in person. you're flying to conferences, you're traveling a
Yeah.
lot. You
Yeah.
know, I was in it like that, but I mean, I was also very just kind of practical, down to earth, and I love simple things. I love just making concepts work for people, and honestly, I saw it as a solution. So I loved solution selling.
That's cool. That makes a lot of sense. And so then you basically just kind of went off and did your own thing, and now you're just
Yeah,
kind of like sales marketing consultant man.
yeah. I thought, you know what, there's a lot to it, working for another company, and there's a great benefit to that. And I just took the risk to go out on my own and start my own company. So Fellowship Sales started August of 2016, and it started off just as a sales and marketing agency, doing social media marketing for folks and sales consulting and things like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's funny. That's how like I got started in marketing. Um, Sales, not so much. The sales kind of came later because you know, the best way to learn sales is just by doing it, really. And
Mm.
then the more frequent you do it, the more it makes sense to you. And then you're able to kind of naturally catch on. But sometimes it kind of depends on who you are too. You could just be prolonged in sales and still not really catch on to the process or how to do things of that nature. But I started off that way too. I'll kind of save you some details, but I was just a normal kid growing up, just kind of like did my thing. Parents put me in like basketball and a pretty normal life, really. And I went to college and I was so motivated. It was so funny actually. I was just like so motivated to like go to college and do all this. I actually wanted to be a nurse at one point too,
Hmm.
because my mom was a nurse. And I was like, man, if I become a nurse, she's gonna like love me so much more, Not that she doesn't. I just mean like you always like think like, what's the one thing I could do to make my parents just be like, damn, that's my kid. So I thought like, man, being a nurse would be that. I hated it. I took like what was it, microbiology, and it was the worst thing I've ever laid my eyes on. I hated it. So I kind of got into business, and then I went to like Cal State Long Beach and did like healthcare administration. It's like healthcare and business, and I thought that might be cool. Jumped into corporate healthcare and was miserable. And then I ended up getting laid off because a certain organization, they had like a 2 to 3, maybe. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if it would cost them like $4 million to have an all hands meeting at Disneyland,
Hmm.
and it was a huge production. And that year, we found out that they were over their budget by $4 million. So they had to lay off, and I think they laid off for like almost 2 years.
Wow.
So I was looking to leave, but they laid me off first, and I was like, great, wonderful. So I took like a year off. I was like 25. I got married. I had a baby. I had no job. I mean, when I got married, it was funny. Like when I got married, um, I had no job, and then we went on a 2.5 week extravaganza of what is it, a honeymoon. Going to
Yeah.
like Bahamas and London and Italy and all this stuff. And I had no, I like got hired on our honeymoon. And then
Oh, nice.
when we came back, we had no, I was like homeless. I always joke like I was homeless, had no job, um, and like barely had any money. It was
Yeah.
hysterical. So going against the status quo, I guess, but whatever. Anyways, I took like a year off, and then I had a friend, next door neighbor, that was in the like doing this whole agency marketing thing, and I got into that, and I really enjoyed it. And it
Mm.
started off just social media, helping people grow their following, that type of thing. And then as more and more clients came, they started asking for more things, like, well, I really want paid ads, or I really want this, or consultant, whatever it might be. And so it kind of morphed into like this full service marketing agency thing now. And I kind of
Hmm.
fell into it, but I also fell into something I actually really love doing.
Mm.
Kind of funny how life does that. But so
Yeah.
now I'm like, I have Daniel Matthews Media, and we're doing consulting and working with businesses, and we're just cranking away. And
Mm.
it's really fun, actually.
Yeah.
Um,
Nice.
so I'm just excited. I think you and I, James, together will be able to put a lot of fun stuff out there, a lot of valuable information. And I like to say maybe really specific information too. And I think a great thing that maybe our listeners will like to hear is, um, although we might get a little philosophical at times, I think it's going to give a lot of people a new perspective on things. You know,
Totally.
it, you know, there's a lot more options and doors to open than what might seem you have available at any given time, I think.
Absolutely. And whether you're seasoned or not, I mean, it just depends on how perceptive you are of your environment, of your relationships, and if you could just kind of sense those opportunities coming to you.
Yeah, no, I think that's great. And I think that's what, James, I think that's what Peppers and Flowers is going to be all about. It's going to be about, you know, really, I know this is an overused term, but really like breaking the barriers, like really thinking outside the box, really like trying to do things on different perspectives of, here's an example real quick. Um, I always say, I mean, you know me, I always say these kind of examples, but it's a sense of, you have customers that are complaining about something, and it could be whatever. And so you might take that complaint literally, but what you might not consider, maybe some people do, but I feel like most people don't. Someone might not consider is, well, what are they actually complaining about? Maybe they're not
Mm,
complaining about it being too slow. Maybe they're complaining because they're like, I mean, they're humans. Maybe they're just bored. Maybe they need to be
mm,
entertained. Maybe there's an underlying meaning to why someone is reacting. And usually it's not totally on the case of what they're communicating to you, you know? So I think you and I working together and getting this podcast, we're going to add a lot of new perspective, I think, and dare I say, like, try to go against the grain a little bit. So I think
yeah.
that's what we're allowed to do as entrepreneurs and marketers. And I think sales and marketing people are really more of artists.
Yeah. I've never met, two of the same clients. I've
Yeah.
never really had two of the same sales pitches, even though it might sound like the same. It's always a little bit different. And, yeah, I think that's what we find in any art, that you get into is, not only is it creative and expressive, but it's also very unique and different. And so, I totally agree, man. Me and you, and we're going to put together an avenue for people to see that they can be expressive in their field and learn a lot and grow, and also shed light on things to show people that things aren't so cut and dry. It's not just about, can you save me money on my monthly phone bill, or
Yeah,
it's
totally.
it's not. I mean, that's kind of,
Totally.
so sometimes people might just boil it down to the nuts and bolts, but there's so much more to it. And yeah, totally. I think, just looking at this podcast and looking at the audience that's going to join in and, be a part of the conversation. I'm really humbled and also flattered by what's going to happen. I think, I've always wondered, gosh, I'm going through so much, and as a professional, and doing this for the last, 20 plus years. And like, I'm like, what value is this going to bring to somebody else? And well, this could be a perfect opportunity for someone to learn or glean some wisdom from, like, my mistakes, my successes also, and also even just some just general teaching and training. So yeah,
Yeah.
man, it's gonna be
Yeah.
lots of fun.
Yeah. I think there's going to be trainings. There's going to be, and the cool thing is there's no catch to any of it. Like, we're just going to be spewing information with no like call to actions. It's not like, if you want to hear more, join our webinar or anything like that. But it'll be
Right.
like, there's going to be trainings. We're going to do conversations. At some point, it would be awesome to get some special guests or something. And I guess
Hmm.
that's the more generic format of a podcast, but I still think that'd be pretty cool if we got someone to do that with us. But trainings, conversation, table topics, all that stuff. And then, you know, we also want to hear from everyone listening too. So any suggestions on certain trainings or things you'd like to hear us talk about, you can always shoot us an email or contact or comment or get in contact with us and let us know. And we'd love to consider that and put that into our program. But I think it's just going to be pretty open-ended. We're just going to try to give as much information as possible on this podcast as
Absolutely.
we can, you know? So I'm excited, James. Real quick, we're going to be launching podcasts every week, either coming out Friday or Saturday. I think we're going to do Saturdays right now. I mean, if anything changes, we'll let everyone know. But I think we're gonna do every week, and they'll come out on Saturday mornings.
Yeah, so just know that you'll have you'll have a whole week to enjoy what we've posted, and then you can come back for the conversation again. And all of our conversations are very unique and fresh, so you'll never know what to expect. However, sales and marketing is the main topic. Are the main topics, and whether we jump off the boat and talk about something else for a little while, you never know. But I mean, it'll all be part of the mix. And ultimately, though, this is my goal and Daniel's goal is we're here to help you become a better professional, a better, sales and marketing professional as well, but also just a better individual. You might learn something from some of our, past experiences and relationships currently. And who knows, maybe we could get you connected to something better that will help you out further in your life. So let's continue the conversation. Daniel, I don't know. I like to tell jokes every once in a while, but I don't have one off the top of my head. But is there anything that comes to your mind that could help the audience crack up a little bit?
Yeah. Fun fact: I used to be homeschooled.
Yep.
I was homeschooled from. I was just homeschooled up till junior college. So I was like 18 or 17. I was homeschooled, and I always joke, yeah, I was homeschooled, and homeschoolers do like to do it on the kitchen table.
Homeschoolers. I got my kids. My daughter Zoe. She told me a joke the other day. She said, Daddy, why couldn't the toilet paper cross the road?
Why? You gotta say the punchline, James.
I know. I'm laughing remembering my daughter telling it to me, but it's it got stuck in the crack. So, anyways,
well, we just lost all our viewers. We just lost all our listeners.
Yeah.
At least I try to laugh on time. There was no hesitation. I'll try to say a better joke next time.
Right. No, but for real, I think it's going to be a good time. Now, look, I don't know. I think a plug for Fellowship and Daniel Matthews Media. We also do a lot of work together, and so for those of you that do need help with your company's advertising, marketing, or sales, you could hire us as an outside agency to come alongside and help out and grow your business and things like that. So just know that there's that synergy that we have together as well as companies. So if you want to just reach out to us, that's definitely something that's possible as well.
Yeah. Again, and we could just be any questions you have. We're here to be a resource as well. So there's a lot of options available to you guys. But yeah, I'm really excited. So we'll shoot next week. You should get your next one coming out next Saturday. Topic will be revealed on launch day, and you're really going to like it. It's going to be super deep, super practical. We're going to cover a lot of things. That podcast, I'm sure, is going to be a lot longer. So expect a more lengthy explanation on things for sure. But anyways, James, it was fun. I'm really excited about this.
Perfect, man. Yeah, no, I'm having a good time too. And, I just have to say that, a podcast to me is something you listen to and you share with your friends. And, it's not just a one-time experience, but you carry it with you from week to week. So, just let's keep this conversation going. It's a never-ending conversation that starts now, but just continues on. So, friends, that's now a wrap. We look forward to joining you again next Saturday. Daniel and James signing off.